If you're setting up an off-grid solar system, there are a few mistakes that can cost you thousands of dollars, ruin your batteries, and even start a fire. And most people don't even realize they're making these mistakes until it's too late. So in this video, I want to share with you 6 common and potentially dangerous mistakes that I personally made when setting up our off-grid solar system. But more importantly, I'll show you how we fix those mistakes so we won't have any of those problems. Before we jump right into the mistakes, come with me and let me give you an overview of our entire solar system. Oh, it's a beautiful blue sky, sunny day here on our homestead that we're building from scratch, debt-free in North Idaho. And so these right here are our solar panels. We've got about 30 solar panels and around 10,000 watts of solar power. Here's the back right here. This is our DIY solar mount system. It's tippable and tiltable, for the different seasons, so you get the right angle on your solar panels. But right inside of here is our solar disconnect. We've got 4 strings of solar panels coming into these disconnects, coming into the top, going out the bottom, going underground, and into the solar shed. Go ahead and close this guy back up. All right, let's cruise into the solar shed and we'll check out all the goodness in there. All right, so here's our whole solar power setup here. Our solar panel wires actually come up through here, and then they go into this charge controller, and some other ones come up into this charge controller. And so we have these 2 charge controllers, which of course charge our battery bank down here. Now, after the power comes up into here, it comes down these wires, and it comes down these wires, goes into here, and then comes up into this Link's distributor from Victron Energy. And then there is a fuse in each one of these protecting everything underneath this cover. So the power comes up into here, and then it comes down these wires right here, comes down, goes through the switches, and goes into our battery bank. The power can then come out of the batteries, back up through these switches, back into the Link's distributor, through the fuses, across, down through more fuses, into here, and then it comes over into our 2 inverters. Now these are wired up so that they are split phase 240 volts. Now from these 2, it comes out this one and it comes out this one, and they come down into here, over to here, to this panel, which has a 50 amp fuse. It goes into the wall, down, back outside, into that LB, into that conduit, underground, over to that LB, into the wall. It comes into the garage over there, up into the ceiling, over to here, and down into this panel right here, where we've got all of our breakers for our house. So now, in the winter time though, sometimes we don't make enough power. So we've got a backup solution for that. Back to the inverters, right? Not only are they 48 volt input, and they put out 5,000 volt amps each, but they're also a 70 amp charger. So this wire right here and this wire right here go into the wall. They go back out of the wall over here, comes out of the wall right here, and this is our generator that charges our batteries when there is no sun. So that's the general overview of everything. Oh, and if you'd like to see all of the mistakes that we made in context, well, here is the video that we made with all of those mistakes wiring up our brand new battery bank. We used it like that for about 6 months with no problems, but then we realized our mistakes and we fixed them all. The first mistake we made was not charging each of our batteries up to 100% before we wired them together. We just checked the voltage to see if each of them was the same. They're all basically the same voltage. According to Battleborn, they all need to be within 1/10 of a volt. So they're all 13.30 volts, except for one that's 13.28 volts and one that is 13.31 volts. So they're all within the range The problem with that is that it can give you a false sense of the state of charge. They can have the same resting voltage, but be at a slightly different state of charge, which in the end turned out that our battery bank was then not balanced. And so we took the whole system apart. We rewired everything, and we used this guy right here, and we charged each individual battery up to 100% before we wired them together. And so now we have a balanced battery bank. The next mistake was making a DIY aluminum bar to tie our batteries together. We're going to use this right here. This is bar stock aluminum, and we're going to use that to connect them together. So we need 8-inch pieces. All right. Oh yeah, that'll be perfect then. Perfecto. Here's our pattern. We'll make them all just like this one. What we should have used instead was this copper bar right here that is provided by the battery manufacturer to make the batteries much safer, because the aluminum doesn't handle as much current as the copper. So we got the proper copper bars and tied all of our batteries together the way the manufacturer recommends. The third mistake was listening to old comments on some of our videos. I have always crimped all of our wire connectors, but this time I thought, let's just listen to some old comments and we're gonna solder them instead. We're soldering them on this time. In the past, I've always crimped them, but I thought, hey, why not solder them this time, you know? There we go, it's starting to melt. Now we'll heat up our wire a little bit here, get that flux melted, while not letting that cool down too much. All right, here we go. We took the whole thing apart and properly crimped every one of our connectors all down here, 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 everywhere. They're all properly crimped and heat shrinked. The fourth mistake was using wire that was too small. So you might be wondering what size wire this is. This is 4-gauge wire that we're using to connect the 3 battery banks together. 4-gauge here, this can handle 70 amps. When I decided to use the number 4 wire, I was thinking about the load that our system would be under. As far as the load goes, the number 4 was fine, but if there was to be a catastrophic failure or a catastrophic short between 2 wires, then those number 4 wires would have been way too small. They would have overheated and possibly caused a fire. So what we did was properly size the wire. We're using 4/0 wire now, and everything should be fine. To go along with that problem, we also made our parallel runs for the battery bank different lengths. One battery coming down from there, so it's in parallel. And then this positive and this positive, they come all the way over to here. Now we've got this 2 positives and this one right here coming off of this battery. And we've got these 2 negatives coming off of this battery. And this is gonna be our main battery wire here. But now each string of our batteries has its own set of 4/0 cables going up to the Link's distributor. 1, 2, and 3. They are all the exact same length, and our battery bank is now balanced. Now, the most shocking and the most embarrassing mistake that I made while wiring up our battery bank was accidentally touching one of these bars to the positive and negative. Check this out. Now you can get a nice close-up here. And a lot of our viewers thought that I got shocked when I did that. And that's understandable, but I didn't get shocked. While we were taking this whole system apart, I filmed this for you. In our last video about setting up our battery system here, I touched this bar. You can see the big burn mark right there. Right here, you can see the burn mark right there. And you can see the burn mark right there, right? I went... A lot of you guys thought that I got shocked. Well, let me show you. As you can see there, that is 27.11 volts across these 2 terminals here. If I was to take this right now and touch it up there, it would give a giant spark, just like if you accidentally touch a wrench across your positive and negative terminals in your car, or from positive to the engine block, something like that, right? You're going to get a big spark and you're going to get a scar in your tool just like that. But does it shock you? Well, 27.11 volts directly across, positive to negative, no shock, not even a tingle. And so when we wired the system up this time, I took extra precautions. I just paid a little bit more attention. I didn't arc anything accidentally, taped up my wrenches so that they couldn't like accidentally touch something that they're not supposed to touch. It's also recommended that you take off your jewelry if you wear jewelry. I don't really wear any jewelry except for this and this watch, but I just got this watch and didn't have it when I wired this system up. But in the future, I would take off my watch if I was going to be working on this. Before we get to our sixth and final embarrassing mistake that I made, let me share with you just a quick word from our sponsor. Battleborn Batteries is the sponsor of this video, and the thing that I really want to share with you about them is their app. Right, they have got a really cool app that is controlled by the Battleborn hub right here. And so the hub, it links down to each of the batteries and kind of compiles all of that information into one place where you can see what your batteries are doing. And so if you take a look at the app, each one of these rows here is a battery bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 48 volt bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 48 volt bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 48 volt bank. And so what's cool is not only can you see the voltage of your whole battery bank and all of the stuff that's going on with that, but you can tap into one battery and you can look at all of the information for that particular battery. And so you can see everything that's going on with your system and be able to monitor it. Had I been paying attention and been aware of the problems that I was having before, I might not have gone 6 months before I noticed the problem of our batteries being out of balance. So I want to thank Battleborn for sponsoring this video, and also let you guys know that there is a link down in the description below where you can get all of the information that you need and or want about Battleborn batteries, their whole system, and a setup kind of like ours, if that's something that you're looking for. The sixth mistake that I made while wiring this whole system up was mounting all of this stuff here to a flammable surface. Now we've got it all mounted on metal, except for the CSLs because they can't be mounted directly to a grounded metal surface. There's also an air gap behind it so that if there was to be, say, a short in here and it was to get like hot, well, it wouldn't be able to catch the flammable surface behind this metal because, well, one, the metal's not flammable, and number two, there's that air gap to help keep it cool. So hopefully then we'd have a fuse blow or a breaker trip before we caught everything on fire. And just as another safety precaution, right, this is a dedicated shed to our off-grid solar system, and so no unauthorized personnel are coming in here messing with this. No kids are playing ball in here. No animals are coming in here, I guess maybe unless there's like a stray mouse that makes its way in here. But nothing is coming in here to mess with this and do something that's going to cause an accident. And so if I have enticed you, right, into watching the full video where we make all of those embarrassing mistakes, it is right over here. Make sure that you read the comments because they are, well, just a little bit brutal. I will see you over in that video in just a second. I hope you guys have a really great day and keep smiling.